Welcome to Right Now Workshop Podcast, where you can write a book and change the world. I'm your host, Kitty Bucholtz, and this is episode 225, Getting Ready for a Brand New Start, an encouraging words episode coming to you on Tuesday, December 8th, 2020. Yes, I said Tuesday, not Sunday. I missed the first Sunday of the month Encouraging Words episode, but that's because I have been madly focused on a mastermind that I've been in with my business coach and all the people in my coaching program. And it has been intense. There's a lot of cool new stuff coming up in my new year, and I'm super excited about them all. One of the new things I've been telling you about the last few weeks is that I'm expanding my book coaching business, and I am finding it so rewarding and just really super fun to work with writers to finish their book and to get it published and out into the world, and celebrating with my people. Yeah, I mean, I could call them coachees or clients or whatever, but I feel like, they're my people. They're like you. All of us writers working together. Yeah, it's been super fun seeing these books come out. But one of the other things that's going to happen is that I'm going to make some changes to the podcast in this next year. And in a way, I've sort of given you a taste of that this month. So starting in 2021, okay, does that not sound like a science fiction date? It sounds like something out of a movie, but okay, that's our life. We live in 2021. Can't say it without laughing, apparently. Anyway, in 2021, the podcast will move to seasons instead of just being every week for the whole year. There will be 4 seasons. There'll be 10 to 12 episodes each, and each season will have some sort of a focus. And so I'm giving you a taste of that with December, where all 5 episodes of December are all about revising and editing. So definitely, if you didn't know that or forgot about it, be sure to listen to all 5 episodes this month, because it is going to be fantastic help for you as you're editing and revising your book. And that's what the podcast will be kind of moving into in 2021. So don't have all the details yet, but I'm excited. I think it's going to be super fun for all of us, and I'm going to continue having amazing guests. So lots of really good stuff for you. So be sure to subscribe, because otherwise you might not realize that things are restarting up again when a couple weeks go by without an episode. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way, there's no way that you'll miss out on anything when we do, 10 or 12 episodes and then off for a few weeks and then 10 or 12 more, that sort of thing. Okay, so these are just some of the new things that are coming up in the new year for me. And I love New Year's because I love the idea that, well, some years, I'm just really glad it feels like I can hit the do-over button. And of course, you can't really do over. You can't jump back to the beginning of 2020. But on the other hand, like, do I want to? But there is something about New Year's, Mondays, mornings, all 3 of these things I love, because it gives us an opportunity where we can kind of start again and just go, okay, what are things that I want to do differently? What things went well? Okay, so that's another thing I wanted to tell you about. Not only is this a good time to think about changes and improvements and getting a fresh start and thinking of it as a do-over, but it's a great time to just stop and think clearly about what has actually happened in the past, not what we think or what we feel, what's actually happened, and then looking forward. So for instance, at the beginning of the mastermind, the one I'm in right now, as you're probably listening to this, the leader of Mastermind started by giving us a 2-minute timer and told us to write down all the good things that had happened in 2020. And I'm pretty sure there was a lot of people, at Slack, you can see 25 squares of people at a time, but there were, like 3 or 4 pages of people, maybe more. So you can only see some of the people, but I'm looking at the expressions and thinking, yeah, there's some people going, I don't think I'll need 2 minutes to write down all of the good things that happened. And yet, the end of the 2 minutes, I was still writing, and I heard him say, I see everybody's heads still down. Do people want another minute? And he kind of laughed. And I think we were all thinking, wow, what a surprise. We need more than 2 minutes to write down all the good things that happened in a very tough year. So he gave us an extra minute, and I got 17 things listed out in 3 minutes. And if I had tried harder and we had more time, I think I could have pretty easily, I could have at least hit 20. But I mean, some of these things were like surprising and fantastic. I ran my best, fastest half marathon ever, which granted was my goal at the beginning of the year. But then, COVID hit. I didn't go to the gym. I was like, this is never going to work. I'm never going to be able to get stronger and more fit and be able to go faster. But partly because of not being able to go to the gym, I was outside all the time. And then some other friends, they were also just running outside. And so one of them came over and we ran together every single Sunday. And by the time it was a month before, 2 or 3 weeks before, I was like, this is not going to happen. I'm not going to hit my time, but at least I'll have done it. I'll have run another half marathon. But on the day, I told my friend Rob, listen, I don't think this is going to be a new best time for me, but I'm going to at least try. Worst case scenario, I'll wear myself out and I'll have a really bad time. So we went for it. And I beat my best time by 8 seconds. And my best time was in 2013. So I was like, holy crap. It was shocking. And then other things that were like, because of COVID, I have moved around so much in the last 15 to 20 years. And I feel so sad when I leave friends behind and I feel like we don't get to stay in touch anymore. I kind of hate it, but I just have to accept it's a part of my life. And lots of times over the last 15 years, I've asked people, do you want to have a Skype call or something? And the answer is often yes, but then actually scheduling it has been terrible. And there are some friends I have rarely talked to in the last 10 years, but because of COVID, a ton of us ended up in a situation where there were lots of weeks that we weren't allowed to see our in-person friends. And so we had to only see people on Slack or, well, not really Slack, but Zoom or Skype or whatever, FaceTime, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, wherever you're doing your video calls. And suddenly it didn't really matter whether or not they were having a video call with their friend that they live in the same town or their friend on the other side of the world. They were like, sure, I'll have a video call. So I got to catch up with all these friends that I've barely talked to, certainly not talked to enough for my joy, because I love my friends. So like that was one other like super great thing that happened to me during 2020. So what I'm saying is set a timer and start writing, because I really think you're going to make yourself feel better when you realize how many good things did happen this year. Now, definitely when you start thinking about, 2020, 2021, and you're starting to write down the good things that happened and things that you want to try to plan for in 2021, I think you should absolutely write down your dreams. But remember, dreams are things that you have not very much actual control over. It's like, I would love it if this thing happened. There's usually some control that you have, but after that, you're like, now I just have to wait for this thing to happen or not happen. I've done all I can. So definitely write down your dreams, because it's important to keep track of those and to nurture them and to find out what other things could I be doing to help this dream move forward. You don't want to just sit there and not realize that if I thought about it, I could have done this and this too. But so in addition to that, be sure to write down your goals. So these are the things that you actually can achieve if you do this and this and this and this. Because we've had a little bit of a tough year, maybe make fewer goals. Like a lot of times I'll have 10 to 15 goals in a year, knowing that really it should max out at about 10. And that if I did fewer, maybe I would get more done. But this is definitely a good year to consider having like 2 to 5 solid goals. And then think about like how you can get them done. If you're a journaler, like journal some of this stuff, think it through, ask yourself like, what are the things that I would do if I could just do anything? And then speaking of that, what could I do to make that thing happen? So I really think that it's important every year to think about how we want to refocus our lives. And I don't think about New Year's as being a time of resolutions and things. It's like, well, I'll do this for January, maybe February. I'll be lucky if I'm still doing it in March. I'm talking about like a couple of times a year is actually better than once a year. Refocusing, thinking what's been going well, what's been going not as well, what can I work on, what do I have any control over where I can move things forward. For instance, me choosing to reach out to my friends and say, hey, since you're used to being on Zoom calls now, you want to have a Zoom call from the other side of the world? And then tons of my friends saying, sure, that sounds great. Now, it could have been just me thinking, oh, they don't want to have Zoom calls. They just want to hang out with their their in-person friends, in the past. Or it could be that it really was true, even though people aren't really thinking that. I mean, it is more fun to hang out with people in person. But what I'm saying is that you don't know exactly what could happen until you start writing it down and thinking it through. And what I say, and what I don't just say this, I literally believe this. I absolutely believe that any of us could write a book that changes the world. It may or may not be the book that we're working on right now, but I'm absolutely convinced of it. It might not be the book itself that changes the world. Maybe you'll change a person who then ends up doing something to change the world. Keep in mind that the ways that we have available to us to change the world is to make it better or to make it worse. So choose wisely and then take action, because 2021 could end up being one of the best years we've ever had. I mean, it's really up to us as a whole, but in order for the whole to actually be able to make that goal, then each one of us has to choose to make that goal. I make it my goal for 2021 to find a way to make the world a better place. And since you and I are writers, there's a really good chance that a lot of that's going to come through writing. It may be that you write a children's book and that does something that has a ripple effect in the world. You may find that you've become a political activist and your writing is changing the world in this way. It could be that you choose to handwrite a letter every single week for 52 weeks for 2021. And I guarantee you, those words will change at least 52 people's lives. So you do have the ability to use your words to change lives and to change the world and to make it a better place. I am sure that you will do something that makes the world a better place next year. I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited about the things that I'll be doing, things that maybe I don't even understand yet how it's going to make a positive impact on people's lives. But I believe it's going to happen and I'm going to work towards it happening. So it's both a dream and a goal. I'm going to have specific steps that I take to try to make it happen. And I'm also going to dream about like the amazingness of maybe not even finding out until I die what things were positively affected, what people were positively affected by me being a part of their lives. And I do very much hope that me being a part of your life is one of the positive changes that I'm making in the world. So that is your encouraging episode, your encouraging words episode for December. I wish you a very Merry Christmas, a happy Hanukkah, a happy Kwanzaa, a happy New Year, and I hope that you have a fantastic month. Remember to watch these episodes having to do with editing so that you can make your books even better. And we will see you again later. Happy writing and happy holidays.